doors. He was still wearing his Winnetka County Sheriff's Department uniform, and that probably meant he was still on duty. Mike waved back at them, and Hannah and Norman went down the steps to greet him. "Sorry I missed the wedding," Mike said when they arrived at his side. "I was supposed to be off work an hour and a half ago, but there was a robbery. You'd think in heat like this the criminals would stay home and fan themselves." "What did they steal?" Norman asked. "A couple of fans," Hannah guessed, earning long-suffering looks from both men. "You're close," Mike told her. "They stole a truck loaded with one of those above-ground swimming pools." "That's a pretty big thing to steal," Norman said. "Did you catch them?" "Sure. The pool was still in the bed of the truck, and they were trying to fill it up in the parking lot at the Eagle. You know where that is, don't you?" Both Hannah and Norman nodded. They'd rescued Hannah's youngest sister, Michelle, from the country western bar last summer when she'd helped them substantiate a suspect's alibi. "They were trying to set up the pool at the Eagle?" Hannah asked him. "Trying is the operative word. Since they didn't have a hose, they recruited everybody at the bar to carry out beer mugs filled with water and dump them in the pool. Lonnie and I figured it would have taken them at least 4 days to fill it up enough for a swim." "So, you caught them and arrested them?" Norman asked. Mike shook his head. "It seems they were drinking buddies with the owner of the truck, and once they agreed to help him unload the pool at his house, and he agreed to let them go for a swim, everybody went off happy. But I missed the wedding, and I'm sorry about that." Mike turned to Norman. "Give your mother and Earl my apologies, okay? And tell them I'll see them later." "Let's head out to the Lake Eden Inn," Norman suggested after Mike had left. Hannah glanced at her dress watch, squinting a bit to read the tiny numbers. She was used to the big dial on the watch she wore at work, where time was of the essence, and a minute or two more could turn a boiled frosting into concrete. "If we leave now, we'll be an hour early for the reception." "Good. I want to check my video equipment to make sure everything's working right." Norman stopped speaking and frowned slightly. "Did I give you the bag of cat treats and toys I bought?" Hannah turned to smile at him. "Yes, you did. But there's enough in that bag for a month, and you're only going to be gone for 3 nights. "I know. It's just that I've never left Cuddles before, and I wanted to make sure she had everything she needed." "But how about the time Marguerite took her up north?" Hannah asked, remembering the vacation Cuddles and her former owner had taken last summer. "That's different. I didn't leave Cuddles. Cuddles left me." Norman was silent for a moment, and then he began to grin. "That sounds a little crazy, doesn't it?" "Not a bit. I'd feel the same way." Hannah reviewed the plan in her mind as they walked to Norman's car. Once the reception was over, Norman would be driving his mother and Earl to the international airport in Minneapolis, where they would catch a midnight flight to Rome. They were touring Italy for their honeymoon, somewhere Carrie had always wanted to go. Norman would see them off, and then he'd drive to the hotel where he'd be staying for 3 nights. On Monday, he'd meet up with some friends from dental school who were opening a clinic in St. Paul, tour the building they'd chosen for their clinic, and then they'd all go out to dinner together. On Tuesday, he'd attend the grand opening, stay over that night, and drive back to Lake Eden Wednesday morning in time for his first appointment. He'd pick up Cuddles that night after work, and his cat would have almost 72 hours to spend playing with her best friend, Moisha. "Do you think we should check on the cats before we drive out to the reception?" Norman asked. "We can stop at the condo if you're worried about them, but I'm sure they're fine. I filled the kitty valet with food before we left, and Moisha's always been a real gentleman about letting Cuddles eat first. They're probably snuggled up on the couch together, watching the Animal Channel." "You're right. No sense in disturbing them." Norman opened all 4 doors of his car to let the heat out before he gestured for Hannah to get inside. "I'll get the air conditioning on right away," he promised. It was a hot afternoon.